And I want to thank everyone for jumping on today. We are recording this, and so it will be available on our blog at naturalcompounder.com, along with the other webinars we're going to have during the week. And as I mentioned before, there is a question area down at the bottom, a Q&A. If you click on that and type in a question, we'll be glad to answer it either during the presentation or at the end of the presentation. And just as a reminder, thanks to Evan Healy, the company, and Lindsay, everyone who attends today will be entered into a drawing for a free gift from Evan Healy. And we'll be contacting you after the webinar once we have the drawing. So I would like to introduce Lindsay Geinert. She is the national educator for Evan Healy. And being a guy, I don't know that much about skincare, but I know when they were in the store and they were showing us their product and how to use it, it was fascinating. One thing that really jumped out upstairs when it was being sampled with people, and also downstairs when you sprayed the mist, I'm sure you're going to be talking about it, and put a couple of drops of the oil into it, just the aroma, people smiled. And that, says something, because plant extracts, they have live energy to it. And when it's something that's pleasing to the body, it just gives you that smile all over. And your products do this. Everyone that samples it in the store always smiles. Nobody makes a face. And so that really says something. And with that, I'm going to turn my camera off and mute myself, and I'll turn it over to you. You should be able to share your screen, and we'll get going. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Gary. That was so nice and such an appropriate introduction to Evan Healy. And welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. As Gary mentioned, I'm Lindsay, the national educator for Evan Healy. And I've actually been working for Evan Healy since 2012. And I've been using the products even longer. I've been using them about 14 years or so. And I've always been a highly sensitive individual. And so the moment I tried Evan Healy, I found immediate relief, not only for my skin, but from the aromatherapy, for my psyche. It calmed and soothed me. And I've been an Evan Healy devotee since then. So I've only used Evan Healy for about 14 years. And to this day, I'm still the Evan Healy girl. So when I talk about the products, it comes from my heart and a sincere relief that I've received from using these products. And so just to give a little overview about us, we're a holistic skincare line created by Evan Healy, our namesake. And Evan Healy has actually been an aromatherapist, worked in the natural products industry, and been a holistic esthetician for over 35 years. And she developed the line through her unique experience. And she's actually studied all over the world. So her unique experience as a holistic esthetician and aromatherapist, and also like traveling around the world. She learned things through her travels and her education, which is extensive. And what she found throughout all of her education and experience was the less you interfere with the skin's ability to achieve balance, the better. So we're completely plant-based, nothing synthetic, no GMOs, no alcohol, no isolates, no parabens, no silicones, no phthalates. The list really goes on for what we wouldn't use in any of our products. We source from certified organic, small family farms, women's cooperatives, and cooperative villages from around the world where we pay fair prices for our ingredients. We even hand blend and hand fill and hand package our products in our facility in Southern California. So we're located in Carlsbad, California. So there's so many things that make us different, and I'm going to dive deeper into each of these right now. So Evan, not only has she been an aromatherapist, but she actually studied under the thought leaders in the industry. She studied in France and in the United States and in Germany under Malte Hotzel, Dietrich Gumbel, Kurt Schnauwelt. These are the individuals that actually wrote the textbooks on aromatherapy. Evan studied Ayurveda in India, and she's a student of Vasant Lad of the Ayurvedic Institute in Albuquerque, New Mexico. So Ayurveda plays a part in her formulations. She holds a diploma from the International Institute of Homeopathy, Bach flower therapy. So flower essences play a part in her formulations. And since 2012, she's worked with artisan flower essence practitioner, and they've collaborated to create flower essence blends that correspond with the different emotional aspects you find in the different treatment lines. So yet another layer of healing. And really I could go on, but we are this unique fusion of different holistic healing remedies, including nature and its cycles, traditional plant lore, Ayurveda, homeopathy, and even ancient beauty practices, which I find so lovely and romantic when I think about it that way. So foundational to the line, and Gary touched on this a bit, is the idea that oil and water mix. So he referenced our sort of signature oil water ritual, and it puts a smile on everyone's face. So getting back to the foundation of that, our skin is made up of sebaceous glands and sweat glands that produce sebum and perspiration. And this oil and water emulsion is what makes up the top layer of our skin. It's called the acid mantle. So it's our protective barrier. It has a pH that we're trying to maintain, which is slightly acidic, between 4.5 to 5.5. It has its own natural microbiome that we want to maintain. So it is a living and breathing acid mantle protective barrier. And so, you know, we're absorbing nutrients and oxygen from the air, and we're detoxifying through our skin. So something really unique that Evan learned through her experience as a holistic esthetician is she was mimicking what the skin does. She was mimicking these, this oil and water. And so she looked to the plant kingdom and uses pure plant waters with pure plant oils to recreate and balance the acid mantle of the skin. I'm gonna just move my, okay. So I'm just gonna get right to it. So after cleansing, you're going to, so this is a pure plant hydrosol, and I'm gonna actually dive deeper into this a little bit later on, but I just wanted to show you the oil and water ritual right off the bat, since it is our signature moisture hydration technique. So after cleansing, I do a little bit of a general misting, and then in the palm of my hand, I'll also be utilizing one of our rosehip treatment serums. Today I'm using our rosehip treatment serum blue, which has actually been my security blanket for all these years, and I'll explain why a little bit later as well. 1 to 2 pumps of the serum with 5 to 7 pumps of the hydrosol. And this I'm gonna emulsify in my hands. So once you emulsify it a little bit, you can press this into your skin. Press and massage it in. I like to take some deep breaths and then just pressing it in and massaging it in. Oh, all the way down my décolleté. And so this is it. This is really the most important thing you can do for your skin. And we're doing this daily, morning and evening, after cleansing, after utilizing your clay masks. It is really resetting the skin, and the skin understands it, because this is actually what our skin does. Our skin produces this oil and water, so it really understands this technique. And the other thing is, we're not using just any plant oils. We're using incredibly nutrient-dense plant oils with our artisan hydrosols, which are incredible ingredients. So moving on from there, I'm going to talk a little bit about our different treatment lines. So we have a balancing treatment line, also known as our balancing ritual. And this little kit I know you can find in store. And so our balancing ritual, it was formerly known as the Rose line, is also, it's going to be good for anyone with dry skin, combination skin, oily skin, aging skin, anyone that prefers rose and rose geranium aromas. So the reason it could be good for oily and dry is because the star of the line is actually rose geranium. Rose geranium acts as a dermal adaptogen. So with that, it actually supports our sebaceous glands and our endocrine system to bring our oil production into balance. Pretty amazing, right? And as an adaptogen, it also supports balancing maybe any hormonal breakouts that one might find, which are sort of in this chin area. We often see hormonal breakouts. So rose geranium is a perfect choice for any of those. And I know it seems counterintuitive that you could use one product line for both oily and dry skin, but the beauty is that that rose geranium actually is supporting that balancing, hence the balancing ritual. We also have a calming ritual, and this is the ritual of tranquility. And so as the calming ritual, it really features lavender, blue chamomile, immortelle. So the blue, and we have often called it the blue line because of the blue packaging, and it was formerly named that. But the blue line or calming line actually is going to pacify heat in the skin and calm and soothe redness. So this line might be great for anyone that has red, irritated skin. It's always great for sensitive skin. Anyone that might have eczema, psoriasis, rosacea, redness, blemishes, burns. Like I said earlier, the blue line is going to pacify this heat and it's going to soothe the skin. So it's such an amazing treatment line. And this is the line that I use. And in the beginning, when I started using Evan Healy, I happened to be diagnosed with rosacea. And so I was trying everything. I was using everything I could try. You know, I was being seen by a doctor, and I tried Evan Healy. I utilized the oil and water from this line, as well as one of the cleansers. But the moment I put the oil and water on my skin, I had immediate relief from some of the burning. And then I had cumulative relief and improvement in the redness. And so most people wouldn't look at me like I have any products, and I'm not claiming anything, but for me personally, I found extreme relief through using the blue treatment line. And so at this point, I'm very sensitive as well, but at this point I could mix and match almost anything within the line. But in the beginning, I stayed pretty true to the calming line just to support my skin in its healing process. Then we also have a purifying ritual. And this is going to be good for anyone with acne or teen skin, blemishes, impurities. This is also great if somebody is extremely sensitive. There's not much essential oil in this one, as I'll go into a little bit more in detail. However, it's great for, especially somebody that is experiencing some breakouts or acneic skin. Teen skin, a lot of men really enjoy this treatment line, as well as it has some fresh aromas and like more simpler aromas in some sense. So those are the main. We also have some specialty treatment items that I'll go into in a little bit more depth. But as I had mentioned earlier, oil and water are foundational to Evan Healy. And so within the balancing ritual line, you're going to find, we have the cleanser, we have the rose geranium hydrosol, and then we have the rose hip treatment serum. And rose hip we also have that same concept in the calming ritual. So since the beginning in Evan's private practice, she has found that no other oil other than rosehip, or rosehip was the oil she reached for first, because she said that no other oil created such profound healing in the skin. And so she's always, utilized rosehip. And our rosehip is so incredible that we source it from the Bio region in Chile, where it is a hand harvested, wild crafted, certified organic rosehip, where they don't even press the seeds until we place the order. So it's fresh pressed in the absence of oxygen. And so just to make it a little bit tangible, only about 3% of the rosehip seeds are rosehip oil. So that means that, only 3%. So out of 100 kilos of rosehips, only 3 kilos are going to be utilized for the rosehip seed oil or produce rosehip seed oil. So fresh pressed, it's not a commodity oil sitting out on a warehouse shelf. It's actually this incredible wild harvested rosehip, certified organic. And rosehip is really incredible in that it has a compound called trans-retinoic acid. Trans-retinoic acid actually increases cellular turnover. It's also known as provitamin A. So it's incredibly regenerative to the skin. It improves the appearance of hyperpigmentation, fine lines, wrinkles. It's really an amazing compound naturally occurring in the rosehip. Above and beyond that, you're going to find that it has a nice amount of omega-6. Now, omega-6 has been found to be deficient in blemished skin, and it is necessary actually for the barrier function in our skin, supporting our acid mantle. So I know sometimes people don't want to have too much omega-6 inside their bodies, however, our skin needs some omega-6. It's also going to have some omega-3, a heat pacifying omega, as well as omega-9. So you get this beautiful 3-6-9 balance within the rosehip. You'll find lycopene, a powerful antioxidant carotenoid that harmonizes our skin with the sun. And then plant sterols or phytosterols. So they support collagen synthesis in the skin, and they are really incredibly regenerative as well. So wow, when you think about all the compounds that you find within rosehip, you can understand why it's so incredibly powerful for our skin. It's a small molecule, so it absorbs effortlessly, especially because we're pairing it with our hydrosol, pure plant hydrosols.
Lindsay?
So, yes,
if I
Gary?
can interrupt for 1 second, Betty
Sure.
has a question. Is there
Great.
any type of preservative in your product? Do they need to be stored in a special place or temperature?
Great question. So, now within any of our oil serums or our balms or our whipped shea, our hydrosols or our clay, there's actually no preservative needed, and they're actually best stored at room temperature. No need to refrigerate anything. Now, if you think about it, if you don't mix oil and water in advance, you don't need to add a preservative. And when you think about what lotions are moisturizers, they're actually just oils and waters and emulsifiers added together. So using the oil and water as a pair like this is acting as your moisture and hydration, right? It's acting as your moisturizer, but it doesn't need a preservative if you don't add, if you're not combining them. That's when you need to preserve a product. Same with our clay. You would never need to preserve that unless you were, like when they're pre-mixed clays, those need to be preserved. So that's another reason why we mix our clays and activate them right before we use them. Now, in the situation of our cleansing milks and our day moisturizers and our light moisture replenishing fluid, now those items are a blend of oils and waters. So in that case, we do need to add a preservative, and we are using honeysuckle extract as our primary preservative system, which is incredibly clean preservative. We hold the cleanest ranking on Environmental Working Group's website, Skin Deep. So third party gives us the cleanest ranking. So we are using a very clean system there, and those are the only products that actually require any preservative at all. So great question. I love that one. And it comes up quite often. So you're better off just storing them at room temperature. Actually refrigerating them can disrupt the pH. in some of the products, which actually is not ideal. So room temperature is great. Okay, so back to the rose hip. So, excuse me, you will find the rose hip in both treatment rose and blue, or balancing and calming ritual treatment lines, is in our rose hip treatment serums. So in the case for the balancing or rose line, you're gonna find that it has rose, rose geranium, sandalwood, carrot seed, there's a touch of lavender in that one. And then in the blue or calming rose hip treatment serum, so this one, it actually says blue on it. And this one will have lavender, blue chamomile, immortelle, and carrot seed as well. There's actually less essential oil in the blue one because sensitive folks often can't tolerate quite the percentage of essential oils in their products. And then you'll also find the rose hip treatment serum in our pomegranate repair serum. So this one you'll find in the purifying ritual line, but it's also in the green face boxes, which are for all skin types. So really the star of the pomegranate repair serum is the pomegranate seed oil. Pomegranate is well known for being full of antioxidants, and it also has a compound called punicic acid, and it is specific to pomegranate. It's really not found in many other plants, and it is also known as omega-5, and it actually supports keratin production in the skin. And so sometimes as we age and our skin thins a little bit, this can support, you know, the protective barrier, our acid mantle. It feels, it's a little bit waxier, a little bit more protective oil. You can look at the beautiful color. You're also going to find there's sea buckthorn oil in this, which virtually has every omega, and it's full of antioxidants as well. And then, like I said, you'll find that you'll have the benefits of the rosehip seed oil, and then jojoba that we source domestically from a family farm in Arizona where it's actually native to. So the pomegranate repair serum doesn't have any aromatherapy, and this really has a big range of skin types that it's beneficial for. Not only is it beneficial for blemished or acneic skin, paired with maybe the lemon thyme hydrosol or the lavender hydrosol, and that way it sort of forms a bandage of this on the skin and really supports healing those scars that might occur. But it's also great for aging skin, sun damaged skin. It's really a powerful serum, and these oils are all just so incredibly nutrient dense. Used the same way that you use all of our oil serums, and you can mix and match between the different treatment lines. So another beautiful oil that we're utilizing is our argan intensive serum. So you can kind of see it here. And this is another favorite of mine. So we source our argan oil from the Alamal Women's Cooperative in Morocco, where the women there actually hand harvest. They remove the fruit, they remove the nut, they press the seeds all by hand while singing songs of joy. So that's how incredibly high vibration that oil is. And it is just this beautiful gold color. This one's a little bit low, but you can see that it's golden. It's sort of a medium-sized oil, and it's rich in several things, well known for being high in vitamin E, a powerful antioxidant, as well as it's a good source of omega-9. So dry skin has actually been found to be deficient in omega-9. So this oil can be a great addition if you're feeling a little bit dry. You'll also find that our argan is also included in our day moisturizers, both the rose and the blue, as well as our light moisture replenishing fluid. So it's added to those when you're needing another layer of protection. Medium-sized oil. It also has squalene, which is a skin softener. It's just naturally occurring in here that really softens the skin. So if your skin's feeling a little tough, this is a great oil to reach for. Dry skin, or if you just sort of love this oil, if you're drawn to it. So something we often recommend to people is, you know, we're all intuitive. So intuitively reaching for the products that are resonating with you, particularly if the aromas are resonating with you, there's probably a reason those aromas are resonating with you. There's, you know, they're aromatherapy, so they have these benefits that go beyond our skin. And if you think about them as nervous system tonics, and our face has a really high density of nerves, and you're applying these nervous system tonics to your skin, you can have incredible benefit. And as Gary mentioned earlier, that, you know, whenever people do this oil and water application, they're always smiling afterwards, and you see that their shoulders might drop and they just sort of calm right into the present moment, which is so important for all of us, especially these days, is just to be really present. And so having this little routine of your oil and water application can be so incredibly therapeutic, both to mind, body, and spirit. So argan, medium size, you know, mix and match. You're going to also find that it's going to have frankincense, jasmine, and lemongrass in here. So the frankincense is just so sanctifying. And if you think about the history of frankincense, entire trade routes were created around the movement of frankincense and trading of frankincense. And it's a resin that comes from these ancient trees. Again, you know, an ancient remedy here, just like the argan trees are ancient, and even the rosehip, it's so beautiful. But anyway, the resin that oozes from the sap that oozes from the frankincense tree, that boswellia, it actually heals the wound where this, you know, when they cut the tree, it heals that wound. So you can think about the healing effects that frankincense provide for us. There's so many benefits. I could really go on that. So argan intensive, and then as I mentioned before, the argan's found in many of our other products. Oh, and I always think about when the women are singing these songs of joys, they sing that because they believe it makes it better. And when you think about vibrational medicine, you know, that sourcing, that incredible relationship that we have, that all comes through, and it translates in a way that is not even, you can't even describe it in words, how this translates into our body and our, the way our skin looks and feels. So, and that's the only oil the women of Morocco, the Alamal women, that's all they use on their skin, and their skin is so beautiful. So you can just see and feel the power of this incredible oil. So oil and water, as I mentioned before, it's, you know, the foundation of Evan Healy. And so when I'm talking about water, I'm not just talking about any water. I'm actually talking about these artisan distilled hydrosols. And we actually distill these hydrosols the traditional way in hand-pounded alembic copper stills. So historically, hydrosol was the first thing that humans distilled. Before they were distilling for essential oils, they were actually distilling fresh plant matter, and they were utilizing this plant water in many different ways, and they weren't even using the essential oil at that time, which is hard to imagine. And so the oldest stills are 4,000 years old. So at least for 4,000 years, humans have been distilling hydrosol. Those stills were found in Cyprus, buried by a volcano, and they found residue of all different types of plants in here. So quite an incredible story, and it says a lot to the therapeutic benefits of these plant waters. And because we're distilling in copper stills, there is an ancient alchemy. And so we like, our farmers are in Washington State, and they actually, we're working with, you know, 9 to 11 family farms, and our farmers there, they hand harvest all the plant matter. So again, we're talking again about hand harvesting. These, our ingredients are hand harvested, packed into these copper stills where they're filled with water, and then gently heated for 4 to 6 hours, depending on the plant matter that they're actually working with. You know, they're distilling rose geranium, lavender, lemon thyme, tulsi, and some, let me think, blood orange. They have a few different other plants that they're distilling up there. And, but mainly for us are rose geranium, lavender, lemon thyme, and tulsi. And so by hand harvesting fresh plant matter, packing it into the still, heating for 4 to 6 hours. Then the first blush of aroma that comes off of the still is called the angel mist. And that's when you know that the still is going to start releasing this beautiful water. And because we're using fresh plant matter, you'll have the plant cellular water, the actual water flowing within the different plants. This is so incredible. So the fresh plant matter, it's full of antioxidants, phytonutrients. It's perfectly pH balanced for what our skin needs, which is so amazing to me, how we're so similar to plants and it just comes out perfect. And it's a means for applying the oil serums, mimicking, again, what our skin is already doing. Full of antioxidants, phytonutrients. It is actually a homeopathic dose of the essential oil, so it's absolutely safe to use on your skin neat as is, because it's already naturally diluted in that sense. And again, vibrational medicine, this vibrational energy of the plant translates into this, you know, bottle and into the application on our skin. And so you have the therapeutic benefits of the plant as well. And under the homeopathic principles, the more dilute something is, the more therapeutic it is. So think about the beautiful benefits you get of these different pure plant hydrosols. So oil, water. Next, I'm going to actually talk a little bit about the third part of the essential trinity of Evan Healy. So our skin is made up of oils and water and minerals. So the third part of the essential trinity of Evan Healy is clay. Clay is our answer for exfoliation. Now, clay acts as an exfoliant for the skin without disrupting the acid mantle. And so, you know, what Evan found when she was a holistic esthetician, as a holistic esthetician in her private practice, I should say, she found that people were coming in with, and this was sort of in the 90s, people were coming in with really over exfoliated skin. This was a time when peels, microdermabrasion, scrubs, they were all becoming really popular. And everybody's skin was really sensitive. It was overly dry. It was becoming red. And it was disrupting the acid mantle of the skin. You know, it was disrupting our protective barrier. So Evan was actually, you know, recreating the acid mantle through using this layering effect of the oils and water. But then she found that clay was her answer for exfoliation without disrupting the acid mantle or the pH of the acid mantle. So clay is amazing in that it's intelligent. It only removes dead skin cells. It doesn't affect our living skin cells, right? It leaves them be. So as an intelligent, you know, remedy here, and it happens to be the oldest remedy. You know, people have been using this since the beginning of time. Even animals use clay to heal themselves, which is so amazing. So it most literally is Mother Earth, a little bit of Mother Earth that you're applying to your skin. So we recommend a weekly clay mask. So it's going to draw out dead skin cells, metabolic impurities, toxins. And since you're repeatedly using pure plant oils, which actually soften and lubricate the pores, it's going to be easy for the clay to draw out these impurities. So it's exfoliating, it's drawing out dead skin cells and metabolic impurities, and then it's mineral rich. Evan chooses her clays based on their mineral content and their appropriate use for the face. So these clays are rich in calcium, magnesium, iron, silica, all of the building blocks for collagen production, the scaffolding of the skin that gives our skin body and flexibility. And it's, you know, sort of amazing to think that the clay could be drawing out things, taking things out while giving you something back. But it's actually this beautiful exchange. When you activate the clay, it engages a negative ion exchange. So those negative ions actually adhere to and draw and attract to those metabolic impurities and toxins and draw them out, while the skin absorbs the beautiful minerals that you find in here. So it's nourishing the skin at the same time. Another thing that the clay does is, you know, when the clay gets tight, you know, you feel that tightening effect, it kind of tightens. that tightening is actually working out all of your little facial muscles. It's working out your fascia. It's snapping the skin. That snapping action builds elastin. So it's actually a workout for your face. Evan calls it a gymnastic workout for the skin. She also calls it the unsung hero because it's doing so much more than just exfoliating the skin, which is what people mainly think about. So it's quite incredible how clay can be so beneficial for the skin. And as I mentioned earlier, I have used Evan Healy for 14 years exclusively, and I mix and match different serums and hydrosols. And it's not that I see really any difference when I switch serums too much right at this moment, because I've used it for so long and I use so many of them. But every single time I do a clay mask, I can see the immediate results and the cumulative, like the next couple days, I'm like, oh, I got to remember to do my clay masks because it's so transformative. So you can do them weekly is what we recommend. You could do it, more, since clay is not going to over exfoliate, but we always want to be in balance. So weekly or bi-weekly might be great. And we have a couple different clays. So we have the French rose clay, which is sort of considered our beautifying clay. And that is going to have French rose kaolin clay with montmorillonite, with Moroccan razul. Razul comes from the pre-Atlas mountains in Morocco. So this clay is beautifully pink toned, and it's not going to be as drawing as our green tea clay, which I didn't grab one, but I'll pull it out of the kit here to show you what's in our kit. But the green tea clay, which this is from in the kit, it has matcha, certified organic matcha green tea paired with montmorillonite clay. And the montmorillonite clay, so this is going to be more drawing. We consider this one a little bit more like our detox clay. So you're going to get a little bit more blood flow. So with both clays, you have increased blood flow and which means increased lymphatic flow, which means increased repair, right? We don't want stagnant skin. We want to have a lot of circulation. And so both of them are doing that, but you're going to get a little bit more tighter when you're using the green tea clay, a little bit more blood flow. It looks like you maybe just went for a run. I get a little pink, but it fades really quickly. And then the French rose clay is going to be more of a beautifying clay. It won't get as tight. You won't be as pink afterwards. And like I said, the pink fades instantly or very quickly, but it's like you just went for a really good, run or outside of the heat, and then it fades. So the French rose clay, great for all skin, especially dry, that's where the dry skin or, sensitive skin might fall, but more in that line. Green tea clay is if you're really trying to, detox, or if you want, like, as your skin gets in a little bit better shape, I kind of crave the green tea clay because I feel it a little bit more, but I utilize both clays personally. And so oil, water, clay, shea. Let's see, I see is that question? Okay, we already did. Okay, so oil, water, clay, shea. It's the fourth pillar of Evan Healy. And so we source our shea butter from the Kapursi village in northern Ghana, where we co-sponsored their organic and fair trade certification. We funded a grinding mill, a milling shed. We have supported them with school uniforms for the children. And so we have sourced from them since 2007. And this relationship is really important to us. And again, it's all women that are producing the shea, just like the Berber women of the Alamel Women's Cooperative. It's women that do this, and it's done by hand. And so they're harvesting the shea nuts by hand, and they're producing the shea butter the traditional way, which actually takes a couple of days. It's an incredibly laborious process. And these women are actually this is the livelihood. It's improved the livelihood of the village, are sourcing from them. And then they actually, put a lot of care into this production. So we get the large blocks of shea butter. They're really huge, pretty big blocks like this. And we pop it into a giant cake mixer actually, and we whip it for 4 to 6 hours, depending on the texture of the shea, to break it up. And then we drizzle in other healing infusions, which make it soft and lofty, sort of like a souffle or a frosting. You look at it, it is just luscious. And so it's really interesting to think that only 15% of the shea nuts are actually harvested. And these trees are, these are ancient trees. I think it takes 50 years for them to mature to be able to produce the shea nuts. So again, ancient remedies, ancient trees. And with the whipped shea, if you think about it, it's a shea butter, it's a plant butter, which is essential fatty acids. So you're going to use it like an oil. It's use the same essential fatty acids. And I often will use it as a moisturizing mask, especially after doing my clay mask. I like to do them back to back. And some people actually like to use the shea mask before they do the clay mask. So there's no wrong way to use the Evan Healy. But I take a big dollop. I might even take more than this. And I'll apply it all over my face. I'll press it in, massage it in, maybe even a little more than that, and take a warm, steamy towel and press it into my face, and do that 3 or 4 times. And it will actually just steam right into your skin. You don't need to remove it. Then I'll finish with a generous misting of hydrosol. And between what I just did, that will feel like I just gave myself a beautiful facial. And it is so regenerative to the skin, and it really is amazing for many different skin types. All skin types ultimately get a reset from using the shea. It does not clog pores. So you have olive leaf infusion in this product, calendula, nettles, and this beautiful olive oil infusion that falls in there. And that happens in the whipping process. And so oil, water, clay, and shea. When you think about Evan Healy, every single product within our line is made up of some combination of oil, water, clay, and shea. From our cleansing milks, both in the rose and blue line, they are blends of this oil, water, and clay. There's some, cold pressed oils, hydrosols, kaolin clay, and our whipped shea butter all in one, as well as Go-To Cola, which is a powerful antioxidant and wound healer, supports collagen synthesis, increases circulation. So our cleansers are just incredibly nourishing as well as cleansing and gentle. You'll find that there is yucca extract. So that actually is a gentle cleanser that breaks the surface tension when you activate it with water, just like any other cleanser. Our day moisturizers and light moisture replenishing fluid are an example of where you find cold pressed oils, hydrosols, and our whipped shea. And those are great if anyone is needing another layer of protection on top of their oil and water ritual. Some people do prefer to just use them on their own, which is just fine. For each his own. There's no wrong way to use Evan Healy. However, I think they work best when you pair them with the hydrosol. That always helps everything absorb. The hydrosols drive our moisture into our skin, drive the oils into our skin, and then the oils actually carry that hydration in to our skin. So the pairing is always luxurious. And then we have our balms, which are an example of cold pressed oils, our shea butter. And in the case of our Wild Carrot Nourishing Eye Balm and our lip balm, there is a touch of beeswax in those two. So for anyone that's concerned about that, those two items have beeswax, and actually our sunstick as well does. And then let's see here, oil, water, clay, and shea. I feel like when you think about it in that little package, it's really easy to understand the concepts and think about the health of the skin. And like I said, there's no wrong way to use it, mixing and matching between different treatment lines is absolutely appropriate. And we also believe in seasonal skincare. So, you know, maybe adding another layer of protection as we start going into the fall and winter, supporting after sun or after summer skincare. If you've had experienced a lot of sun over the summer, you may want to use, you know, change your routine a little bit and add in some pomegranate repair serum. In the winter, you might want to use your whipped shea in a different way. You could actually use our whipped shea as a one-stop shop. Like when I go camping, I might just bring this and a lavender hydrosol and have my bases covered. You can cleanse with this, moisturize with this. You can use it as a mask, as a healing balm. And so mixing and matching, utilizing and listening to your body and your intuition and the seasons, and really being present and enjoying the moment and enjoying this beautiful aromatherapy that you find within the treatment line. So with that.
And Lindsay, if I could jump in, we have another comment and question.
Perfect.
And if anyone has a question, please feel free to type it in. The question is, your product line seems to nurture and treat one's skin, but I question how to incorporate the use of sunscreen and foundation once the skin has been treated. At that point, the natural treatment would do wonders for the skin, but then you would be introducing chemicals or other products on the skin. So what to do for sunscreen? Now, I'll just throw in my 2 cents. There's chemical sunscreen and there's physical barriers, and there's a lot of good clean sunscreens that have zinc oxide in them, which reflect the ultraviolet lights as opposed to the chemical reaction. How does that factor into your skin treatments?
Absolutely. Well, thank you for that, Gary. I 100% agree. The physical sunblocks that are zinc-based are, you know, appropriate. You know, again, we're going back to oil, water, and minerals. So we actually happen to have a sun stick that is zinc-based. So it's non-nano zinc oxide, SPF 30 up to, I think, 80 minutes waterproof. And so that, you know, that or any other zinc-based plant or natural mineral-based sun care is ultimately recommended. We're also coming out with some makeup. We had our Generation 2 makeup is coming around as well, actually. So I layer that on top of my oil and water application. So I do recommend using a natural makeup, you know, a mineral-based makeup. Again, you're just reaching for more minerals, which our skin, you know, doesn't contaminate our skin. And so I love that question. I, you know, happen to be wearing, we haven't even released our new makeup, but I'm actually wearing it at the moment, and it's a mineral-based foundation serum. It's a serum, like a tinted serum. So that is a great question, and I just recommend sticking to the natural products and really, you know, staying in alignment with that holistic way. And if you're not doing that, I mean, I still think it would be better to have these incredibly nourishing ingredients underneath it. Even if you're not, you're going to give your skin some protection. And then just, you know, sort of like weekly clay mask can help draw out those impurities as well. So I hope I answered that question.
That was a very good answer. Thank you. Well, if anyone else has questions, please type them in. If it's after the webinar and you have questions, feel free to contact us at the store. A lot of the people at the store are very well informed on Evan Healy and use the product, and they can help guide you. And we can always get in touch with the company and with Lindsay if there are any questions. Lindsay, this was wonderful. Thank you so much for all your information and your passion about the products. With my pharmacist hat on, if you do need to put some chemicals on the skin, I liked your answer. If you put a lot of good healthy things first, that's almost keeping it above the skin. And
Mhm.
then, of course, at night, you're cleansing with a good, clean product, which is taking all the chemicals off, and you're nourishing the skin while you're sleeping with the minerals. So it sounds good for the whole family, for everybody. And I just want to remind everyone, our Customer Appreciation Virtual Week is all week long through Sunday, and everything in the store, including Evan Healy products, are 20% off. You can stop by the store, you can order online, you can order at ca@naturalcompounder.com. Everyone who attended today will be entered in a drawing, and later on we'll be picking a lucky winner who will receive a present from the Evan Healy Company and Lindsay. And also, if you go to our website, naturalcompounder.com/blog, we have a whole sheet about everything that's going on for Customer Appreciation Week. We're going to have lectures every single day. We are going to have online raffles, since we can't do them in person, of gift baskets from a lot of our companies that support us, and we support them. And if you have any questions, give us a call at the store, 781-893-3870. And Lindsay, again, thank you, and thank you all for attending.
Mm. Thank you.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye.